And I think a lot of this is rooted in wounds that we have had accumulated over the years. You do explore that in the book. You talk about relationship wounds, things like betrayal, loneliness, broken connections. Of course, we won't be able to touch on all of them. So I encourage people to get the book if you want to get more details on that. But I definitely want to talk about it at a higher level. I mean, these invisible scars that we accumulate from past relationships, whether from childhood, friendships, or romantic relationships. In your experience, Dr. Thema, what is the first step toward healing those wounds so that they don't keep influencing us and shaping the relationships that we build in our life?
Yeah. The first thing is to acknowledge the wound and to see it as a wound,
Mm,
because sometimes we don't realize that we're walking around wounded and we think like that's just me or that's just how you're supposed to be in relationships. So I have to see it uh, as a negative consequence in order to want to change it, to tell myself the truth of like, oh, I have trust issues and I know where that came from, but I don't want to remain that way. Or, oh, I'm defensive or combative. And that came out of perhaps the way I was raised, but I know there's another way to be. And so to recognize your patterns, your wounds, the ways in which you survived a toxic situation
hmm
are not the same ways that you want to love in a healthy relationship, right? So, some people, because they were with a cheater, developed this like a controlling pattern. And so you're controlling, maybe even like tracking people, constantly monitoring people, interpreting everything as an offense. And so when you were in that, there's a reason for it of why you started doing that. But when you're trying to build healthy relationships, then I would need to be willing to see how those behaviors are unhealthy, right? So I encourage people to take time to reflect, whether that's in journaling, in therapy, and simply sitting and thinking about it, of what are the habits and the mindset I developed based on my past, and what are the other options? What are other ways of being so that I can move in the direction of a healthier way of relating?
Mm. And it's a process, right? I mean, speaking from
Yeah.
personal experience, I
Mm.
I worked with a therapist to learn about my own patterns of
Yeah.
relating, and it took a while to rewire myself, and I'm still trying to get it right.
Yes.
It's not something that happens overnight, especially if it's deeply entrenched in your way of
Right.
being, and you've had some
Yeah.
really difficult toxic relationships. It's
Hmm.
can be harder, like, to
Right.
resolve it.
And I'm glad you said that, because often what people aren't prepared for is that healing can feel awkward,
Very, oh
right?
my
Where
gosh,
where
yes.
you're where like we have the idea of it'll just be freeing and wonderful and happy,
No.
but when you're used to operating in a particular way,
Yeah,
it can be startling,
very.
one, to say like, oh, like, there's another way, or that's a quote unquote unhealthy or wrong, or and so then to shift that, it's gonna feel awkward of like, oh, that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, and the triggers, oh my goodness, those are the toughest ones
Hmm.
to like resolve.
Yes. Yes. To not, not to not allow it to pull you back into your
Yes.
old ways of being.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. That and yeah, that takes time, but at
Yeah.
least having that awareness and
Hmm.
that willingness to start working on it, I think
Yeah.
it's a great starting point. And something that a lot of people struggle with is emotional availability. I know this is something that is quite prevalent in the world of romantic relationships. You know, we come
Yeah.
across people who exhibit behaviors of not being fully open, not willing to be
Mhm.
vulnerable
Mhm.
in that context. So tell us about that. Emotional unavailability. Like, what are some of the signs that someone is emotionally unavailable, and what can we do about it? How can we
Mhm.
begin to open up?
Yeah. So one, I will say, which, is the biggest sign, is some people will tell you, and we don't hear it or receive it or believe it when they say, I'm not looking for a relationship, right? And then we're like, I'm going to win them over, right? I'm going to love them harder.
Yeah, it's a
I'm going to
challenge.
stay. I'm going to like be the sweetest person ever, and
Yeah.
then they're going to love me. So, we don't want to receive the no. Some people know themselves and they're like, I came out of a rough relationship. I'm not looking to get back in a relationship. So some people own it and are
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't want that. Then it can also look like confusion where they don't say, I don't want it. They're just uncertain.
Yeah.
So they kind of keep you on a string, or people call it breadcrumbing, where they give you just enough attention to keep you around, but they're not really showing a commitment or an
Yeah.
openness. So, you know, confusion is also emotional unavailability when people uh, don't know what they want, or, they want the benefits of your presence, but not the work of the heart, right? That heart work is stretching, can be uncomfortable. Um, Serial infidelity can be a sign of emotional unavailability because if I'm just juggling a lot of people, I don't have to let anybody in, right? I'm just going from the next to the next, like keeping them on rotation and keeping myself occupied and not really being present. Um, People who emotionally shut down when you share your feelings, that's emotional unavailability. So, they may shut down with anger, or they might just shut down in silence, that they don't have the capacity to hear your concerns, your feelings, your feedback, your needs, um, that they get angry that you have a feeling or a thought. That's also emotional unavailability.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can hear the collective go, Amen.
Yes, yes.
Because
Yeah,
I'm sure they're like, yep, been there,
right.
done that.
Been
Yeah.
there, seen that happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. But I wonder if these people who tend to be emotionally available, perhaps they're afraid of getting enmeshed, or maybe they don't know how to relate in a healthy way. Perhaps they're, I don't know, they can be codependent, they're narcissists, or something could prevent them from relating to someone in a healthy way, in an intimate, deep way. And not to
Hmm.
excuse that behavior, but perhaps that could be something that's blocking them from
Sure.
staying with one person.
Yes. Yes. So then if you're on the receiving end of that, you have to decide, am I going to try to be their therapist? Which
Oh,
is what some
yeah.
of us do, right? We
Yes.
try to be the rehabilitation center of like, oh, they want to commit. They're just having problems. So I'm going to be the faith. I'm going to outlast them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the distinction. There are people who have difficulty opening up, but they want to and they're working on it. They just don't know how. And so then like you're not dragging them along or trying to convince them. They have the awareness, because I have clients like that who will say, I'm in this relationship they keep wanting me to open up and I don't know how to do it, or I don't know what they're
Yeah,
wanting from me. But they're
exactly.
doing the work to heal and to learn those skills.
Yeah.